talking about candid conversations. There has been an epiphany that I've had in recent months about the place of therapy and manual therapy on the table in place of personal training and exercise. And as I'd mentioned previously, I have a big background, I have a long history with exercise and having a belief in the power of exercise, or how we exercise, to actually recover our injuries or rehabilitate us from injuries, and even postural strains, dysfunctions, a lot of our pain in general. But you know, what I've taken for granted is the background and all the extensive study and the anatomy and the study of the physiology and just the medicine, but medicine in general, like studying medicine, and then understanding in conjunction with exercise, observing the changes that exercise bring to someone's body, not only through my own, but through patients' bodies and past clients' bodies. And so I had this epiphany the other day that when I'm treating chronic pain or chronic dysfunctions, you know, like postural strains, things of that nature, what I've come to appreciate is that there is blood flow, there is stimulus to tissues that I have previously believed need to be exercised under the right coordination, technique, circumstances. Let's say, you know, there's muscles that we identify when we're practicing. Around the shoulder region, around the neck region, around the upper body, around the pelvis, around the hips, around the legs, around the thighs and the groin. Different muscles we identify that require stimulation and activity in order to restore like a balanced function to the body. I've previously put an emphasis with exercise on those with exercise, it's exercise that's really going to be, you know, over the long term, what restores that function, what brings back that balance. But honestly, it's taken me some time to realize, well, the work that I'm doing on a table with someone is just that. They are just more so passive in the process. I believe the epiphany that I had was around his shoulders and his neck, and the soreness around his shoulders, and then also the restrictions it's starting to place on his neck and the compensations that his body has made in his posture that are now impacting him in how free he is to move in his life. And so it hit me that, across one session, there might be some change. Across 2-3 sessions with this person, he's starting to note, like, yeah, okay, there's a lot of movement coming back. There might be some pain still, why he can't sleep comfortably, position himself comfortably in the bed, but because this is a gradual process. And so a lot like personal training and a lot like exercise, when someone first begins an exercise regime, it can be very uncomfortable, it can be very foreign, and you would not expect to see much happen within the first week, 2-3 weeks of training. Like if you take someone who's never really exercised frequently, maybe they've had some exercise here and there, they're not foreign to physical discomfort and the feeling of physical discomfort. But once you start to introduce that in a greater frequency, in a weekly frequency, you know, multiple times per week, initially the body is going to first be very how would you say it? Like uncoordinated is one thing. They're learning techniques of how to move their body. Their body's going to resist those new techniques because they're outside its normal patterns. Muscles are going to stretch, strain. They're going to be deprived of the adequate, not only stimulus, neural stimulus, but also the nutrition to maintain that new frequency throughout a week. And so the body adapts. The body adapts under those circumstances and begins to, it begins to shift. Muscles become more flexible. Blood flow is introduced into new tissues, new areas of the body. There begins to be a change in the general tensions and pressures of muscularity through the body, particularly with, depending on what the training is, from any kind of endurance-based activity to resistance activity to a particular sport. And a particular sport is going to be associated with its own patterns of movement, and the body will adjust so. And it's a lot the same with table-based therapy, that when there's a chronic condition that is attended to, it will take more sessions than an acute injury to begin to resolve a chronic injury. But if this is a person who's in it for the long-term benefits, who understands that these are postural compensations and there is a bigger picture than just remedying the discomfort and the pain that they're in, then they will notice it will take some frequency of treatment throughout weeks to start to make big changes. And changes where for this man that I was explaining, for example, it's no longer my neck that's restrictive. My shoulders are starting to feel more relaxed. I'm no longer having as much dull ache in the top of my shoulders. They're beginning to be relieved. They're becoming more flexible and mobile. He's able to move around and actually reach higher without that same discomfort. And that's just literally from hands-on stimulus to tissues needing, encouraging blood flow, stretching open, getting the body used to its own, proprioception is the body's ability to perceive where it is in space. Proprioception becomes a big part of it as well. The body's, you're able to start to feel, my body is actually more comfortable in that position. That's not a foreign position for me to move my shoulder, my arm, my hands, my neck. The more you start to stretch and open the body into those positions, the body starts to learn, this is normal, okay, this is not harmful, this is something that we can do, and it begins to reorientate itself. And that's exciting stuff. That's exciting stuff when people are encouraged enough, not only from our side as practitioners to educate people that this is part of the process, but also from themselves to say, I am ready to undertake this process because it's been a long time coming, especially for the older people who understand, this has been something I've put off for a long time. When you're okay to yield to the process and have faith in the process, then it's encouraging to see those gradual improvements, and they might come here and there. And dare I say, they really deserve to be accompanied by rehabilitative movement and exercise. That's the active side of things. Like I said, that personal training is one thing. Exercise instruction, that was my past. That was seeing when people they've already made the step and decision. Take the step and made the decision to come and actually see you and actually, I'm going to participate actively in this process. It's different when someone comes in passively saying, it's in pain that I'm here for you to take the pain out of my body. And if you can actually encourage that person to say, I can take the pain out of the body for the most part. We'll have to find out about that. Depends on what the state is, what the injury is, what the situation is. But if you're ready to really partake in this process, then just gradually ease into it, and one step at a time, one day at a time, and things will improve and improve and improve. And even for people as old as 50, 60, 70, I'd even say the 70-year-olds out there who owe it to themselves and have the capacity to really make improvements and adjustments in their bodies that they might not have ever believed are possible. And it's a rare thing, but it's only rare because there are some people who have the patience and maybe the simplicity in their life to just say, this is the goal that I'm going to participate in pursuing. It's what I'm going to pursue, and I need to just yield to the process that is one day at a time, and gradually days become weeks of improvement and weeks become months of improvement, and so on and so forth. So that was just something I wanted to share as a practitioner who might deal with a lot of chronic patients, but it's encouraging to understand the place of hands-on therapy and how it's almost like a passive form of exercise that I never would have thought that's quite the case, but it really is that.